So we'll wait. No, we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. No problem. No problem. Just want to congratulate Sida for the upcoming 50th meeting of the Toaster. Congratulations, guys. Whoever the members of that Toastmasters, congratulations, guys, for the 50th meeting. I'll definitely try, Shravanti. I'll definitely. For now, let's just. Okay. Okay, Vijaya. That's great. Okay, so for now, we'll just come to our topic. Okay. And our today's topic is. Okay, Shanti. So our today's topic is nested loops. Okay, nested loops. I know you guys have already heard this nested loop before because we have performed this nested loop in Python also and C also. So we'll just revise the concept now. After that, we'll directly jump to the programming. We'll just understand the syntax and direct to the programming part. We'll not waste any time. Yeah, loop inside a loop. That's a great answer. That's a great answer, Shirley. Okay, so loop inside a loop is a nested loop, right? But uh, let's understand this loop inside a loop with the help of a simple example. Okay, so for that I'll be needing a whiteboard and I'll be presenting you guys my screen. Okay, okay. So today I'm working from my another laptop and that's it's quite kind of slow, so please pardon me, it's taking late. Okay, so here we are with our whiteboard. So let's consider one example. Let's consider one example of your kite movements only. Okay. Let's say we have three sections. Okay. We have three sections in KW second year. Let's say we have three sections in KW. In KW, which are A, B, and C. Three sections, right? And each section contains A equals to B equals to C. All three sections contains 60 girls. Okay. So now to each class of yours, I assign one assignment. Each class of yours, I assign one assignment. Okay. So now today is the submission date. Today is the submission date, and I want to check. I want to check. I want to check each and every one of you guys from all three sections. Like we have 60 into 3 will be 180, right? I want to check all 180 paper at once. I want to check all 180 assignments at once. So what will I do? First thing I will do, I'll go to A section, right? I'll go to A section, and after that, I'll start checking. I'll start checking from first student to 60th student, right? 60th student. I'll start checking from first student to 60th student. So after completing this 60 students, I'll directly go to second class, right? B section. I'll go to B section, and in that B section, again I'll start checking from first student to 60th student, right? And after that, after completing 60 student, again I'll go to C, and I'll repeat the same process, right? I'll repeat the same process. So this is for checking. This is my operation for checking. Okay. So what I am doing here? Let's see what I am doing here with the help of for loop. Okay, nested for loop. So let's have one for loop which says for. I have declared an integer variable I to count my number of classes. Yeah, number of classes. So my A class is first, B is the second, and C is the third. Okay. So for first class, for starting class, I'll write I equals to 1. Okay. With the semicolon. And now I have to put a condition, right? Till how many classes I'll go checking. Till how many classes I'll go checking. So simple. The condition is I will be less than equal to 3, right? Less than equal to 3. Yeah, for sections, right? I have 3 sections, so my limits will be 3, right? From first class to third class, right? So, and then I'll put one incrementing sign, I plus plus. Then I'll increment I. Yeah, I plus plus. You are right, Sita. So after that, I'll put one curly brace over here, and I'll enter the in second for loop, right? Inner for loop. For loop. So this first for loop was providing me with the section, right? Which section I should go. So I have taken a first section, right? I equals to 1. So I have taken I equals to 1. So I is less than equal to 3, right? I means 1 is less than equal to 3. So this condition is right. So it will go inside to the inner for loop, right? Inner for loop. Now I have entered the class. I have to check each and every paper, right? From first student to 60th student. So for that, I need to go with roll number 1 first, right? So I will declare J equals to 1. This is my first roll number, right? This is my first roll number, and I should go till 60th roll number, right? 60th roll number till the last student. I should check till last student. So my J should be less than equal to 60, right? Less than equal to 60. And after that, J plus plus. I should increment by 1. Right? First roll number 1, then roll number 2, then roll number 3, till roll number 60. So this is my inner for loop, right? And inside that inner for loop, what I'm doing is I'm just checking, right? I'm just checking your assignment. Checking your assignment, right? And after that, after checking all 60 papers, after checking all 60 papers, okay, I'll exit this class. Means inner for loop is completed, right? Inner for loop is completed. So I need to enter the next class, right? I need to enter the next class now. So for that, what I'll do is I will be incremented, right? Now I becomes 2. Now I becomes 2. So I is definitely less than equal to 3, right? I is definitely less than equal to 3. So again, it will enter this inner for loop, right? Again, it will enter this inner for loop. It will start from roll number 1 again. It will start from roll number 1 till 60th student, right? Till 60th student. That's why I written j less than equal to 60. I do checking, right? For first student checking, then increment, then again checking, then increment, then again checking, then increment till 60 student. So for when my this loop inner loop get completed, when my inner loop get completed, I'll get outside this inner for loop. Again, I'll go to this outer for loop, right? Outer for loop. Here my I get incremented and became 3, right? Previously it was 2, now it incremented to 3. So definitely 3 is less than equal to 3, right? 3 equal to 3. So this condition is satisfied. So that's why it will go to the inner for loop. Means C section, right? 3 means C section, right? So now again I'll perform checking from first student to 60th student. So this how I completed my assignment checking in all the classes, right? With the help of nested for loop. With the help of nested for loop, right? My first for loop provided me the class, and inner for loop provided me the student, right? Individual student. So do you guys understood this nested for loop with the help of this simple example? Just let me know. If you guys are confused, I'll explain again, no problem. What about other girls? We have 66 students, right, in this class. Okay, Vanita. Okay, Parvati. Thank you, Anupma. Okay, I'm really glad you guys are getting this point. That's great, Shravanti. That's great, Pawnee. Okay, so let's do one thing, guys. Please take screenshot of this, right? Please take screenshot of this so you guys can remember the example and the method and the concept. Please take a screenshot of this. That's really great, guys. Your response today is really great. Thank you for your great responses. I hope in the upcoming classes, the response will be same. Please take a screenshot of this, guys. It will help you in the exam time to clear this concept. Okay, done. So let's take one simple program, right? Let's take one simple program for nested for loop. So do you guys remember this pattern? Asterisk and 2 asterisk and 3 asterisk, 4, then 5 asterisk. So I guess many of you guys remember this structure, right? Pyramid of asterisk. Yeah, right. Is the it is the really basic problem, right? We are studying from the first semester. So let's understand this. I mean, let's perform this program with the help of nested loop in Java, right? So let's go to our compiler. Okay. So I'll take one new project, new and good project, and next checkbox, next. Okay, let's name something our project as Jalebi. Okay, let's name this as Jalebi and our package as sweets. Okay, so here we named our project and our package file. New window. Okay. So, so here we are with our package file as sweets, main area, main class, and this is our main method, right? So inside this main method, what I'll do is I'll declare one for loop. Okay. So what is the syntax for loop? We'll write a keyword for and open this bracket. And now we will first initialize I equals to 1. Here we have initialized, right? Then our condition. Then our condition. So I should be less than equal to how many lines we are printing over here? Okay, where is the how many lines we are printing? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? 5 lines we are printing. So let's take I should be less than equal to 5, and I will increment, right? So I plus plus. So now let's open our curly brace and enter. So we'll introduce one inner for loop for that. For I int j equals to 1. Okay, I'll initialize and then I'll put the condition j should be less than equal to I. It should be less than equal to I, and j plus plus. Okay, so I will open one curly brace and I'll use one print statement. Inside this I'll use one print statement, SOUT, and see I am using only print over here. I'm using only print. Okay, I'll explain why. But just for now, keep in mind that I'm using only print, system out print. Okay, and in the next I'll close this inner for loop, and in the outer for loop I'll again use one print statement. Okay, this should be println, empty println, and my program here is done. Okay, okay, so this is our program, right? So first run this, and after getting the output, we will discuss on this program. So for now, just wait for the output. Okay, our program is done compiling, and the okay. Where is the error? Not find or load main class sweet.main. Okay. Okay, so the package says something wrong with the package file, so we'll just take one new project. Yeah, so we'll just take one new project. Okay, next, next, I just name something this and my package file as Bruashiga. Then finish. A new window will require a new window. Okay, let it get developed. Pardon me, guys. I'm just covering my time now. I'll just type it fast. No, don't worry about that. Now I'll use one outer for loop for int I equals to 1 colon. I should be less than equal to 5. Then I plus plus. Okay. Here I'll open my curly brace. Okay. So now inside that I'll use for j equals to 1 into j equals to 1, j equals to 1 comma, and j should be less than equal to I colon and j plus plus. So again I'll open the curly brace, and in that I'll write so ut system out print asterisk space. After that I have closed this, and that I'll write SOUT system output println this on, and now run. So you can see over here it's compiling. Yeah, in the output you can see that we got our perfect pyramid, right? Perfect pyramid. 1 hashtag, 2 hashtag, 3 hashtag, 4 hashtag, and 5 hashtag. So here we are at the perfect pyramid. So let's see how it occurs. So while printing this pyramid, just keep one thing in mind, that this outer for loop, okay, this outer for loop will provide you with the columns, right? Provide you with the, sorry, rows, right? This outer column, sorry, the outer for will provide you the rows. Okay, this rows 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 rows, and the inner loop in which we are using j, right? This is our inner loop. The inner loop will provide the columns, right? The inner loop will provide the columns. So this is how the program works. So the outer for loop will provide you the rows, right? And inner for loop will provide you the column. So let's say we are dealing with I equals to 1, right? I equals to 1. So I is less than 5, right? I is definitely less than 5. So now we will jump in the inner loop. So we have initialized j equal to 1, right? And we have j less than equal to 1. So if j equals to 1, which is definitely less than equal to 1, right? We have I equals to 1. So that's why in the first column, and sorry, in the first row and the first column, we have 1 asterisk. Okay, in the first row and first column, we have 1 asterisk. And then this j incremented, right? This j get incremented. This j get incremented, and after that you will see j became 2, right? J became 2, and in the second row, now in the second row we have this 2 asterisk. Again j incremented, then we have in the third row and 3 columns, right? Again, j got incremented. Then we have 4 row and 4 columns, right? Then 5 rows and 4 columns. So this is how it got printed in the pyramid pattern, asterisk pyramid pattern. So how many of you guys understood this program? Please let me know. Please let me know if you guys understood this problem or not. And what about the other 69 girls? What about the other 69 girls? Guys, please, if you do not understand this program now, we will wait. Okay, we will all wait. I'll just explain this problem again. Please let me know if you guys don't understand this problem. I'll explain again, no problem. I'll definitely go in the deep and I'll teach you this program like ABCD. No, don't worry about that. Don't get embarrassed. That's the spirit, Soumya. That's the spirit. I'll explain again. No worries. So let's see. Let's see what happenings over here. So this, keep one thing in mind, that this outer for loop will provide you the rows. Okay, this outer for loop will provide you the rows, and the inner for loop will provide you the columns. Okay, so how we, so such that we can get one matrix. Okay, so for now take the outer for loop. Okay, take the outer for loop. We have initialized I equal to 1, right? We have initialized I equal to 1. So 1 is definitely less than 5, right? 1 is definitely less than 5. The condition is true now. So it will enter this outer for loop to reach inner for loop, right? So now we have reached inner for loop. And the inner for loop, we have declared that j equals to 1, right? J equals to 1. And now we have j equals to 1, I equals to 1. So 1 is definitely less than equal to 1, right? 1 is definitely less than equal to 1. So the condition became right. And it get printed as asterisk in the first place, right? Because we have first row and first column, right? So now j get incremented. So j became 2. J became 2 now. So it will check again this condition. It will again check this condition. The condition say that j equals to 2, right? 2 is less than equal to 1. No, right? No, definitely not. 2 is not less than equal to 1. 2 is greater than 1. So this condition became false, right? So this whole for loop became wrong. So it will exit this first column. It will, the inner for loop. Now it will exit the inner for loop, right? And this statement and this system print out ln. This ln mean new line. Okay, this ln mean new line. So it will go to the new line over here. See, over in the second row, it will go in the new line. Okay, so now we have reached our outer for loop again. Okay, we are in the loop, right? Still we are in the loop. This output statement still in the for loop. You can see the indentation, right? So now our I get incremented became 2. Now our I get incremented became 2, right? So 2 is definitely less than equal to 5, right? 2 is definitely less than equal to 5, and it will go inside the outer for loop to reach inner for loop. Okay, so now in inner for loop we have again j equal to 1, right? Again j equal to 1, and I equals to, this j equal to 1, but it is less than equal to 2. Now I is 2, right? Our I is 2 over here. So this condition became 1 is less than equal to 2. Condition is right, definitely right. So it will print this asterisk in the first place over here, in the first place, right here, in the first place. Now again j get incremented, became 2. Again j get incremented, became 2. So now we will check this condition again. So let's see 2 is less than equal to 2. Condition is 2, right? 2 equals to 2. So now again it will print asterisk. Again this asterisk will get printed over here. Sorry, over here. Arey yaar. Over here, right? So again when j becomes 2, which means 2 equals to 2, right? This condition became right. Then again the asterisk will be printed over here. Then again j got increment, became 3. J got incremented and became 3, right? Then again we'll check this condition. Is 3 is less than equal to 2? No, definitely not. So this condition became false. The inner loop get break. Now this print statement println will get executed and we will go to our new line over here. Now we'll go to our new line over here, right? So now again we will go to our outer for loop, right? Again we will go to our outer for loop. I get incremented, became 3. 3 is definitely less than 5, right? 3 is definitely less than 5. Condition is satisfied. So it will jump to inner loop, right? It will jump to inner loop. Now we have j equals to 1, right? J equals to 1. So this process will get continuously repeated. This whole loop means 2 for loop continuously repeats till I is less than 5. I is less than 5. The moment I became 6. Listen to my words. The moment I became 6, this outer for loop breaks and whole program will give you the output like this. Okay. The moment I became 6, whole for loop get breaks, right? Outer for loop, and you will get the output as this. So now you get it. Now you get it, Soumya? Or no? Still, if you not get it, you can contact me on the WhatsApp. Okay. Sure, na? Not confused, na? Confused or not? Okay, that's great. That's the spirit. If you are having any doubt, just let me know. If you are hesitating over here, contact me personally. I'll explain them personally. Okay. So this was our nested for loop, right? This was our nested for loop. So after this nested for loop, we'll see where it went. After this, we will see this for each loop. Okay, this is another type of loop for each loop. Okay, this for each loop, right? This for each loop are specially built for array. Okay, this for each loop is specially built for array. Why? Because with the help of for each loop, because with the help of this for each loop, we can access a particular element of this array. Okay, we can access a particular element of an array. So see, the syntax says type, right? The syntax says type, which type of data we have, okay, in that array. Then variable name means array name. Sorry, the counter variable name. Okay, and we have one column, and after that we have array name. Okay, this is data type of the element you have, right? In this we have string. Instead of string, we could have integers, we could have floats, right? Array is nothing but the collection of homogeneous data, means similar data. In this case, we have strings. Okay, so here first type of data, then the counter variable type, then the colon, then the array name. Okay, so let's understand this better with the help of this example. So what we are doing here, we are declaring an array. Okay, we are declaring an array of string type. We are declaring an array of string type with array name as cars, right? With array name as cars. So we have Volvo as a zeroth index at zeroth index number, BMW at first index number, and Ford as second, and Mazda as third. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 4. Listen, listen, listen. Okay. Sorry, my bad. अरे यार. So this how we declared our string, right? Sorry. This how we declared our array. Cars. Cars is your array name, right? Inside the array we have this strings at 0, 1, 2, and 3. These are index numbers. So with the help of this for loop, we are printing each and every element of our string. Sorry, array. Okay, so we are using the type of data we have, means this is our data type, the type of data we have over here, and our counter variable. By default our counter variable will be at 0, I equals to 0, right? Then the colon and the array name, right? This is our array name. Okay, so now after this we will go inside the for loop. Okay, now we are printing each and every element of I. This one. So first I was 0, right? First I was 0. So you can see in the output, it's 0th index number, Volvo was there, right? So Volvo got printed. Now I get incremented. Sir, here I didn't mention. So how come we incrementing I? This is the special type of for loop, okay? This is the special type of for loop, in which we don't have to type the incrementing operation, right? So that's why we didn't mention it. So after that I get incremented and I became 1, right? And in the first index number we have BMW. Again I incremented, I became 2. So it is printing 4, right? Ford, right? At fourth index number we have Ford, so it get printed as Ford. And the third we have Mazda, so we have printed Mazda over here. So this was our for each loop. Okay, so now there was nothing much to understand in this for each loop. It is just used for printing each and every element of an array. So we'll directly move to our next type. Okay, we'll directly move to our next type, which is break and continue. Break and continue. So let's read the statement first. Okay, break statement. What is break statement? Break statement is a loop control statement that is used to terminate the loops. Okay, break statement is a loop control statement that is used to terminate the loop. That's it. As soon as the break statement is encountered within a loop, the loop iteration stop there, and the control returns to the loop immediately to the first statement after the loop. Okay, so we'll understand this whole two statements, 2 points in a program. So I'll just open my compiler, and in that compiler, I will take my new class. Okay, new Java class. I'll name it something dot Java. Okay, so this is our new class with this name. I don't know what is this name. Okay, now inside that we need to introduce our main method, right? Public static void main. Yeah. Now, now what we will do is we will write and program for break statement. Okay. Uh, so for that, what I will do is I'll declare one array. I'll declare one array of integer type. I'll declare one array of integer type. Okay, with an array name of num. What I did here, I declared an array, integer type array with array name as num equals to, I'm declaring elements of array. So let's take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have taken this array. Okay, now I want to print this each and every element. Okay, For that, I'll using for loop. For int x, I'm taking a random variable x with colon and num. Okay. So what type of data I have? Okay. I have integer type data, right? Integer type data. So this is my data type and a counter variable x colon my array in which my numbers are stored, right? My numbers are stored, integer number are stored. So I'll open one curly brace after for, and inside that for, what I'm doing is I'm using one if statement when x is equal to 30. This is my if statement, right? And inside that if I'm using break statement. Okay. So and after that break statement, I'm using for a print statement. So ut print. I'm just printing one. Sorry, x. Okay. After that, I'll take one new line. I'll take one new line. Okay. So this is my whole program. This is my whole program. First, run this program. First, we will run this program, and then we'll see our. Okay. Okay. First, we'll run our program. Then we'll understand this program. Okay. It's compiling over here. You can see that it's compiling. So in the output, you can see that only 10 and 20 is got printed. Why? We have written a program to print each and every element of this array, but only 10 and 20 get printed. Let's see why. Let's see why. So what was happening over here is we have declared an array. Array means collection of similar data, right? So we have declared an integer type array num. We have given some value 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Then we have introduced one for loop. Then we have introduced one for each loop, right? For each loop. The name of this type of loop is for each loop. So first I'll access x equals to 0, right? Means 10 number means 0th index number is 10. 0th index number is 10, right? Well, if 10 equal to 3, no, the condition is wrong, right? So it will skip this if, okay? It will skip this if, it will directly go to this print statement, right? Now, it will print x. What is the value of x? 10, right? 10 over here. So, it will print 10 and after that, it will have one new line, okay? You can see over here, new line, backslash n. Again, after this, it will go upside, right, to this for loop. Now it will access 20, means first index number. X it became 1, right? Means 20. Index number of, index number of 20 is 1. So the value of x will be 20. Is 20 equals to 30? No, right? So this condition becomes false. So it will directly go to this. It will print 20, right? It will print 20 and again new line. After this, it will go to this for loop, and now our value of x became 30. Now our value of x became 30, right? Now it will go inside this and check, is 30 equal to 30? Right? Yes, this condition is right. So now it will go inside this if, and inside this if we have break statement. So whenever your coder, whenever your compiler read this break statement, it will terminate your for loop over here only. Over here only. None of the statement about the below this break statement in this for loop will execute. Okay, the for loop will directly get terminated. So that's why only 10 and 20 values are printing. That's it. Okay. Do you guys understood this problem? Please let me know.
Okay, I guess many of you guys understood. Please take the screenshot of this, and if you do not understand, just let me know again. Okay, I'll explain again. No worries, guys. Okay, thank you for your beautiful responses. Thank you so much, guys. So, I guess everyone understood this break. So, after this break, we have one continuous statement. Okay, after this break, we have one continuous statement. So, we'll see the continuous statement over here. Okay, so first we'll read the definition. The continuous statement break one iteration in the loop. Okay, it says that the continue statement breaks one iteration in the loop if a specified condition occurs and continue with the next iteration in the loop. Okay, read this statement carefully, which says this continue statement break one iteration in the loop if a specified condition occur and continues with the next iteration in the loop. Okay, so keep this in mind, and in this program I'll just do replacement of break with continue. Okay, continue. So I have used the keyword continue. After running this program, let's see the output first, then I will discuss this program. Okay. Okay, it's running, and yeah, voila. So in the output you have 10, 20, 40, 50. But we are printing each and every element of this array, num array, right? But we are skipping 30. Why? Let's see why we are skipping 30. So in uh, in this for loop, first the value of x will be 10, right? 0th index number 10. So is 10 equal to 30? No. If condition became wrong, it will print 10 and it will go to the next line because of this x and like backslash n, right? Again, x 0, it will directly jump from 0 to 1th index number. The value of 1th index number is 20, right? So x became 20. Well, 20 is not equal to 30, definitely not. So it will skip the loop, right? And will directly go to this print statement. It will print 20. Okay, and we'll go to the new line. Now focus. Now x became 30, right? Now x became 30. So it will go inside this for loop. It will go inside this for loop. Now 30 equals to 30, right? 30 equals to 30. So now this condition is satisfied. Your program will go inside this if loop and will read this continue keyword. Now what happens to this continue keyword is whenever your coder read this continue statement, it will skip the iteration. It will skip the loop once for that value. Okay, it will skip the iteration. It will skip the loop once. Okay, and just after this line, just after reading this continue word and continue keyword, it will directly go again to the for loop. It will not go down. It will directly go again to the for loop. It will not terminate. We are using continue, right? It will not terminate. It will directly go to here. So now our value became 40, right? Now x equals to 40. Well, this condition is false, right? 40 is not equal to 30. So it will skip it again. It will print 40 and then go in new line. And again, x became 50, right? X became 50. So this condition is wrong. If condition is wrong, again it will print 50, then new line. So this is how we were skipping 30 with the help of continue statement. Okay. So I hope this is not confusing. You guys getting confused between break and continue statement? Are you guys getting confused between break and no? Okay, that's great. That's great, Somya. That's great, Parvati. Okay, that's great, Lakshmi. That's great, Pooja. You guys are doing really great today. Okay. What about other 70 girls? You guys are not getting anything? Please let me know if you don't understood now. Please let me know. I'll explain again. No worries. Okay, that's great. That's great, Sika. Okay. So now we are completed with our programming. So now I'll introduce you guys with some MCQs. Okay. I'll introduce you guys with some MCQs, and let's see how much you guys are cleared about this. Answer this first MCQ as soon as possible. Okay. Oh, sorry. A. Okay. A. Okay. Most of the guys are getting A. So let's see the answer of this. Yes, definitely. What is a loop? A loop is a block of code that executed repeatedly as long as the condition is satisfied. You guys are good with the concept. Okay. So let's see the new one. Okay, please give me the answer of this. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Take a screenshot of this. Okay, take a screenshot of this and uh, write this program in your compiler. Okay, write this program in your compiler and tell me the answer. I will wait till I'll wait till tomorrow. Okay, and someone. Okay, Soumya, you please remind me that we have to answer this in this class. Okay, this second question. So B and C are same. Yes, B and C are same, but the answer is one of them. Okay, like one of these four options. Oh no, not the same, not the same. Lakshmi, Shravanti, this B and C are not same. Okay, observe it carefully. It's not same. Yeah, comma, right? Comma. It's not same. It's not same. Okay, so there's one task for you guys. You're doing this numerical I mean, program in your compilers, and you guys are telling me the answer tomorrow. This is very simple. This is very simple. Just focus on the condition. Okay, just focus on this condition. This is definitely I if you see the output, no, if you see the output, I'm sure you guys will be able to answer this. Okay, and no one will leave the meeting now. No one will leave the meeting. You guys have lectures after this. Okay.